The city of Los Angeles, a sprawling and vibrant metropolis known for its deep ties to the entertainment industry, was struck by a wave of sadness and reflection this Monday morning, following the heartbreaking news that one of its most iconic voices, Richard "Jed the Fish" Gould, had passed away at the age of 69. For decades, Gould had been more than just a disc jockey. He was a cultural tastemaker, a sonic pioneer, and a cornerstone of LA's unique musical landscape. His voice had echoed through countless radios, car speakers, and boomboxes, soundtracking the lives of generations who came of age listening to his sharp wit, eccentric charm, and impeccable music choices. To many, he wasn't just a DJ. He was a trusted friend on the airwaves, an irreplaceable presence who helped define an era. Jed the Fish's journey began long before he ever cracked a mic at KROQ FM. Born with a natural curiosity for music and a magnetic personality, Gould grew up immersed in sound, constantly seeking out records, artists, and emerging trends that spoke to the raw pulse of youth culture. His love for music wasn't merely a hobby, it was a calling. That passion eventually led him to KROQ FM in 1978, a then-fledgling radio station that would soon explode onto the national scene, in large part due to Gould's visionary ear and trailblazing approach to broadcasting. In those early days, KROQ was still finding its identity, but it didn't take long for the young and charismatic DJ to leave his mark. With his eclectic taste, irreverent humor, and fearless sense of experimentation, he quickly rose through the ranks, becoming one of the most recognizable voices on the air. The 1980s marked a turning point, not only in music but in radio history, and Jed the Fish was at the epicenter of that revolution. He played a pivotal role in ushering in what would become known as the KROQ of the 80s movement, a bold new era that celebrated the rise of alternative rock, punk, new wave, and countless subgenres that had previously been relegated to the fringes of popular culture. Gould didn't just play the hits, he helped create them. His on-air playlists were fearless, often spinning records from up-and-coming bands that no other mainstream station would touch. He believed in the music he played, and his enthusiasm was infectious. Acts like Depeche Mode, The Cure, Susie and the Banshees, and Oingo Boingo were introduced to thousands of listeners through his shows, cementing his status as a tastemaker and cultural gatekeeper. In 1985, Gould briefly stepped away from KROQ-FM to explore a new opportunity at KQAK-FM in San Francisco, another station known for its boundary-pushing sound. Though his absence lasted only 3 months, it was long enough for his loyal fans to feel the void. When he returned to KROQ and took over the afternoon drive slot, there was an overwhelming sense of homecoming. It wasn't just about a voice returning to the airwaves, it was about reclaiming a spirit, a vibe, a connection that only Jed the Fish could provide. Over the next 3 decades, he would become a fixture on the station, carving out a legendary 34-year career that shaped the way generations experienced music, culture, and radio. But Gould's contributions extended far beyond the music he played. He was a brilliant personality, a man whose wit, timing, and depth made every broadcast feel like a personal conversation. Whether he was introducing a new song, riffing on current events, or diving into offbeat tangents that only he could make hilarious, Jed the Fish was always entertaining. He had an uncanny ability to balance the absurd with the profound, never taking himself too seriously but always taking the craft of radio seriously. Fans often recalled how even his commercials were memorable, delivered with a flair and irreverence that turned ordinary spots into moments of pure delight. One such fan fondly remembered, "To hear you do commercials in the early 80s was entertaining, and by the way, tell them a flounder sent ya." According to Variety, the revered DJ was recently diagnosed with lung cancer, a revelation that came as a shock to many who still considered his voice timeless, immortal even. His passing was confirmed on his official Instagram account in a heartfelt post that captured both the sadness of his departure and the love that surrounded him. At 6 a.m., on April 14, 2025, the world lost one of its most unique and brilliant personalities, the post read. Jed the Fish passed peacefully away in his beloved home, and the world will never be the same. R.I.P. Jed, go be with Alice. The mention of Alice carried deep emotional resonance, perhaps a private reference to someone special in his life, someone now reunited with him beyond the veil. As the news of his death spread, tributes began to pour in from across Los Angeles and beyond. Former listeners, fellow DJs, musicians, and fans from every walk of life took to social media to express their grief and gratitude. For many, Jed the Fish had been a constant companion through the highs and lows of life, a voice that brought joy, discovery, and comfort. One heartfelt comment read, "You were an integral figure in my teenage years. May his memory be a blessing." Another admirer wrote, "One of the most talented and funniest men in radio. His penchant for picking hit music was impeccable. RIP my friend, and go join the other talents we've lost that put KROQ on the map of legends. You will be missed." Among the many voices honoring Gould's legacy was Megan Holiday, a current DJ for KROQ FM, who offered a deeply respectful and heartfelt statement on the impact he had not just on the station but on the broader culture of radio and music. Her words spoke for a new generation of broadcasters who had grown up listening to Jed and now carried forward the torch he lit. She acknowledged that there would never be another like him, a singular figure whose blend of passion, humor, intelligence, and irreverence had set a bar few could ever hope to reach. Behind the larger-than-life persona was a man who lived and breathed music. Gould was known to have an extensive personal record collection, one that reflected not only the breadth of his knowledge but the depth of his emotional connection to sound. Friends recalled how he could spend hours talking about obscure B-sides, the hidden meanings behind lyrics, or the brilliance of a band's third album that never got the recognition it deserved. His encyclopedic memory and razor-sharp wit made him a favorite not only among fans but among fellow musicians as well. Many artists credited him for giving them their first major radio play, a crucial boost in the early days of their careers. Throughout his career, Jed the Fish won numerous awards and accolades, but he never let them define him. For him, the real reward was the connection he made with listeners. He understood that radio was an intimate medium, one where a voice could become a lifeline. He embraced that responsibility with humility and humor, always striving to bring joy, surprise, and a little bit of madness into people's lives. His shows were never just about playing records, they were about creating experiences, sharing stories, and building a community. In an age before streaming, algorithms, and curated playlists, Jed the Fish was the algorithm. His instincts were uncanny. He could spot a hit before it broke, champion a band before anyone else had heard of them, and create moments that lingered in the minds of listeners for years. He turned dead air into electricity. And he did it all with a signature style that was entirely his own. There was something fearless about the way he approached radio, a kind of artistic rebellion wrapped in a velvet voice. He was punk and polished, raw and refined, outrageous and thoughtful all at once. Even in his later years, as the media landscape shifted and radio evolved, Gould remained a relevant and beloved figure. He understood the importance of adapting without losing authenticity, of evolving without selling out. He mentored younger DJs, collaborated on digital projects, and continued to explore new sonic frontiers. And yet, no matter how much changed, he never lost that spark, that gleam in the eye that said, "Let's make something weird and wonderful today."